If we give people a compelling reason to do business with us, and it's in their world, then we have a chance of influencing them to take up what we want them to do. It's about understanding what are the key elements of making these things work for us. So can I ask you, I have been circulating and I've been asking a few questions about what are the problems that we're facing today in this downturn. So may I ask this gentleman here, what's the problems you're facing?
Some of my clients are startup businesses and they're finding it particularly tough at the moment. So it's not my problem directly, but it's working with those businesses.
So is that a problem of budget? Is it a problem that they don't see the need for your service? What is your service?
It's business coaching, so I work with people to help them make their business more profitable, get control of their time, get their team more engaged and committed.
It is a challenge at the present moment, isn't it? So we need to find a way to make them realize that their problems can be resolved. Can I ask another question of you? What do you think is the key selling or buying motive of the majority of people that we come into contact with? Why do people buy? Let me put a proposal to you. The main reason that people buy your service, that they buy anything, is certainly to seek help, but it is to move from a position of pain to a position of pleasure. And if you can identify what their pain is and move them from their head, from the logic in their head, down through their heart into their guts, then you find a compelling reason for them to take up your service. How many of us, and I'm part of that accusation as well, how many of us think that we know what our clients' needs are? If you don't, you have to ask what is their problem. And there's an old phrase which says, the problem that somebody brings to us is never the real problem that has to be resolved. It's about 3 levels down. So you have to keep on asking the questions to search for the pain. It occurred to me, because I've come up from London, from North London, what right do I have to stand in front of you and preach about selling skills, about business pitching skills? Let me ask this of you. How many of you have seen or tuned into QVC? A few of you. How many of you bought from QVC? Oh, you poor things, I'm sorry. You didn't send it back, I hope, did you? No, okay. Have you any idea what the turnover last year of QVC in this country alone was? Have a guess. This is where I get to do my Bruce Forsyth impersonation. Higher, higher. Who said 100 million?
500 million?
500 million. Not as much as 500 million, but 380 million pounds in this country alone, selling other people's products on a sale or return basis. Worldwide, QVC sells $7.5 billion. It's not a small business. And what has come out of that, because for many, many years, I've been involved with QVC now for about 13 years as a guest presenter. So they bring me in when they don't have a particular guest from the company to establish what the key selling points of that company is. So part of what I do is to understand the product and then present that product, identifying the 2 or 3 key selling elements that are going to persuade people to pick up that phone and buy. So I sell to an invisible audience. In the main, you're lucky because you can see people's whites of eyes. You can see when they're switching off. And do you know what the key element? As I said, pain to pleasure, but there is another element. And if I may, I'm going to dip behind here for a second and grab a bag, which is really going to upset the cameramen. Sorry, guys. Umbrella or teddy? Your choice, umbrella or teddy?
Teddy.
Teddy.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
This is Teddy. What's the connection between Teddy and, if I can find it, a DVD? Doesn't have to be this DVD, Love Actually. And the last time I did this, my wife was in the audience and we watched this for a week. But what's the connection between this little guy and a DVD? Good answer. Wrong, but a good answer. Presents. What else?
Oh, happy holidays.
Thank you, Teddy.
Christmas is so special.
I agree.
What do you want for Christmas?
Oh, peace on earth and goodwill towards men.
I wish I could do that.
A lot of people do, Teddy.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Okay, so what is the connection between this little character? It could be Christmas, because we often see Love Actually at Christmas time. What do you reckon? What's your ideas?
Emotion?
Yeah.
It's a want rather than a need.
It's a want rather than a need. I sold 1,200 of these little guys in 12 minutes, I think it was, at £20 a time. Rough calculation, that's about, what, 2,400 in that period of time, which is, no, 24,000, what am I talking about, which equals about £2,000 a minute. Wouldn't we like to do business at £2,000 a minute? The key here is, you're quite right, it's an emotional sell. And people buy emotionally, they decide logically. Really key thing to think about that. That's that gut situation. When you move people from a logical decision to their guts to find the need, the compelling reason, and I don't apologize for saying it again. When you do that, when you find out what their real need is that is hurting them, and whether you're dealing with a CEO or a buying manager or somebody just who's interested in your product, let me ask another question. What's the problems for CEOs at the present moment? Credit? Right? Finance? What else? I'll tell you, it's legacy. So if you can sell into a CEO, confirming to him that you are going to help him with his legacy, his next move, that's powerful, that's emotion. But there's also another reason. When we look at Teddy, when we look at a DVD, something happens. We're transported back to another time. We're transported back to that time when we first saw the DVD, whatever it is. We're transported back, perhaps to childhood, certainly to Christmas, certainly to another time. The reality is that our brains are time machines. They cannot understand the difference between now and the experience that we once had. And that's how we sell on QVC. This is how I have determined how to help people in the corporate arena. I have devised 7 keys, 7 perfect keys, P-E-R-F-E-C-T. I apologize, it's an acronym. The first is personal impact. And this evening I specifically asked Dawn to introduce me to the front of the room. You have to still have gravitas. That was the reason that I asked Dawn to introduce me to the front of the room. Find a way that you can create the personal impact. It may be to open with a joke. That's one appropriate thing. The other was, as you heard, for me to thank Dawn for inviting me to this august meeting, her first meeting of the year. That's very important, and to acknowledge that. So find the way of coming to the fore, whether it be in one or many, so that people see you as something else than a salesman, a salesperson, a pitcher. Okay, this umbrella, as you can see, opens and closes. And on a day like this, stepping out of a tube, or stepping out of the train here, where the rain was lashing down, if I just didn't have my umbrella with me, I would have gone to a stand, I would have bought one of these rubbishy umbrellas, and as soon as the wind blows, it would turn inside out. With this umbrella, it doesn't, because it's double-skinned. And that means that the wind is going to pass through it. It's never going to let me down. And when I get into the car, just close it down, and I won't get wet. We sold 1,500 of these at £20 a time in 7 minutes on QVC. I didn't talk about the construction. I didn't talk about why this is aerodynamic. I didn't talk about why it opens and closes. All I did was to create a pain scenario. something that we could step into the experience of. I've been there, I've done it, it's in my world. Selling is a Broadway play performed by psychiatrists. We have to know the psychology of why people buy. I would love to be able to speak to you to understand if there's anything that I personally can do for your businesses. What I would love you to do is to let me have your business cards, and I will send you the perfect framework. The elements, the touch points of a presentation, be it in a networking environment or being in a selling environment. If you feel that that would be useful to you,